Like scenes straight out of the classic movie, Red Dawn, patriotic Ukrainian partisans are running around behind Russian lines, risking everything and causing absolute mayhem by attacking, providing intelligence on, and executing Russians whenever possible. Go Wolverines! So, what is a partisan? A partisan is a member of an organized body of fighters who attack or harass an enemy, especially those within an occupied territory. They are also known as a guerrilla. According to the Institute for the Study of War, Ukrainian partisans have carried out dozens of confirmed attacks across Russian-held Ukrainian territory, and killed at least 11 Russian occupying officials and those considered enemies of the state. But first, let's talk quickly about the potential for partisans operating within Russia itself. There is a rather unknown group called the NRA, or National Republican Army, who, according to former State Deputy Ilya Ponomarev, arranged the assassination of Doria Dugina. They were aiming for her father but got her instead. It was her death that signaled the moment that they would officially enter the stage. According to Ilya, he was authorized to issue the group's manifesto via his Telegram channel, Rospartisan. The group describes itself as consisting of Russian activists, military members, politicians who are now fighters and partisans. In their purported statement, the NRA said its members opposed the war launched by Russia against neighboring Ukraine. The NRA declared Putin a usurper of power and a war criminal who amended the constitution, unleashed a fratricidal war between the Slavic peoples, and sent Russian soldiers to certain and senseless death. It also called officials of the Russian government and regional administrations as well as security officials accomplices of the usurper. Now, whether anything else comes of this is highly questionable, but it does pose an interesting moment in the war and Putin's presidency, that of open and violent insurrection within the borders of Russia. How exciting! At this moment, I need to ask you to please drop a like and leave a comment. This is an open forum and I do my very best to respond. You guys mean the world to me. Getting back to Ukraine. General Vadim Skibitsky told the Kiev Post in an exclusive interview that since the beginning of the full-scale Russian invasion, our intelligence has received a flurry of data from the local population. Even US generals, with whom we cooperate, are surprised by such a unique situation whereby the local population provides detailed information about the enemy forces. The partisan movement and cooperation of the local population give the Ukrainian armed forces, or UAF, a massive advantage over the Russians, who have expended resources that they don't have in defending captured territories against their actions. Despite the Russian efforts, traitors and Russian forces continue to be eliminated by these local resistance forces. As a result, the Russian soldiers do not feel safe and must be in a constant state of vigilance. This exhausts and reduces morale. The quick Russian advance and the support of the breakaway regions was a massive initial boost for the invasion, but what soon became apparent was that it simply opened up areas for the partisan groups. By the 1st of November, they controlled 85,300 square kilometers, but without the troops to police it. They are now extremely active across vast swathes of occupied territory, especially in the south. Among them are military-trained individuals as well as members of the special forces, although this has not been confirmed. Collectively, they help the UAF by providing reliable and timely information about military depots and concentrations of Russian troops. The partisans themselves have mainly been focused on sabotage and removal of collaborators, although any way they can upset the Russians is more than acceptable. The scale of the Ukrainian resistance movement has reached such a level that Russians now have severe problems attempting to establish control. On July 27, General Ryhori Hallahan, former head of Special Operation Forces, said in an interview with Radio Svoboda that Ukrainian SSO forces helped to coordinate local partisans in efforts to destroy the Russian military and collaborators in the occupied territories. Thanks to the efficiency of the partisans' work, the UAF managed to strike precise blows on concentrations of Russians and their equipment in the Sumy and Kiev regions using HIMARS and other specialist artillery. In April, Ukrainian intelligence reported details of a partisan with the call sign Wolf, a local hunter, who made forays into the nearby forest to reconnoiter enemy positions. Thanks to his work, the army managed to destroy 12 Russian soldiers and their armored vehicles with artillery and drone strikes. On July 11, partisans, working alongside the UAF, destroyed a warehouse in Novokakhovka containing Russian weapons and ammunition. Melitopol is considered the unofficial center of the Ukrainian partisan movement. Indeed, the ISW marks the Melitopol district on its maps as an area where Russian troops do not have full control over the territory due to its active partisan movement. A notable act of the resistance movement in town was the blowing up of a railway bridge near the village of Yakomivka on April 28. Russian forces had hitherto used the bridge to supply military equipment and ammunition from the Crimean Peninsula to mainland Ukraine. Destruction of logistics infrastructure in Melitopol is a regular occurrence. Partisans blew up an armored train carrying occupiers and have already deployed several sabotage attacks on the railway. Since May, the partisan movement has intensified in other regions, including in Zaporizhzhia and Crimea. Head of Zaporizhzhia Regional Military Administration Alexander Staruk stated on Ukrainian TV back in June that the occupiers regularly try to intimidate the partisans with death penalty threats, but that does not stop them. Ukrainian partisans will continue to resist, he asserted. Partisans have also been distributing leaflets with promises of rewards for the heads of the main collaborators. These include a reward of around $10,000 for the deputy head of the occupying administration of the Kherson region, Kirilo Stremisov, and a similar reward for Russian collaborator Yevhen Belitsky, the mayor of Melitopol. In early August, even in the Luhansk region where pro-Russian support has historically been the largest, partisans have been making an impact. Partisans have started working in our region and they are quite successful, not only posting leaflets but destroying infrastructure facilities. This helps to slow down the attacks and advance of the Russian army, said Governor of Luhansk region Serhiy Haidai. According to him, in September, the Luhansk region's distribution network for railway tracks was destroyed. This stopped the rail logistics networks of the Russian army for some time, and then a hit was attempted on the mayor and deputy major of Bilovodsk, who were shot at whilst riding in their car. Now obviously we haven't covered all the attacks currently credited to the partisans, but this gives you a taste of just how active they have been. So, who are they? There is the Berdyansk Partisan Army, Yellow Ribbon, and Popular Resistance of Ukraine amongst many others. Not much is known about the units, obviously, but their handiwork is very clear to see, and the result of their work is making an extremely positive impact on the Ukrainian war effort. Let's hope that these brave souls continue to resist and to provide the information that is needed to defeat the invaders, and liberate their homes. Go Wolverines!